Hey guys, so just as a reminder, I am not a drama commentary channel by any means or measure. I am neurodivergent, I am highly observant, I have very good pattern recognition, and I think a lot of that is a big reason why I tend to identify questionable and problematic things, maybe sometimes, not always, but sometimes before others may pick up on it. And I'm not saying that makes me better or more informed or more intelligent than anybody else. I'm not. This is the way my brain has developed because of my neurodivergence and living in a constant state of survival mode and having to be aware and pick up on when someone is about to pop off. Now, I want to give some context here. One, please don't send hate to anybody that I may mention in this video. What I am observing and interpreting is my own interpretation of what I'm picking up on from from things people have said or hinted at, but that doesn't necessarily mean that my interpretation is fact, okay? So I want to make that abundantly clear. These people have not really popped off the same way that James Charles did. But I am noticing what seems to be a pattern with some bigger influencers who seem to be tired of people sending them GoFundMe links or asking for help. And I am so not happy that two of the people that I really enjoy their content and I subscribe to and I watch their content all the time seem to be people with similar mentality to James. And again, seem to be. I hope I'm wrong. The first one is Charlotte Dobre and the second one is Boze versus the world. I have observed a few times recently where Charlotte has commented on people asking for handouts in veiled ways. It's not like a full blowout. And Boze versus the world incorporated a bit of a rant in the. She did two videos on Tyler Catastrophe. The first one that is shorter, not like 3 hours. That's the one where she did the rant about, people requesting money. And I want to make an addendum here. In the context of Tyler Catastrophe, I can understand her rant. All right, Tyler's intention with his GoFundMe was a bit questionable. And if you don't know about that situation, I recommend you go watch Boze versus the World. There's Adam McIntyre. There's a number of content creators who have been talking about that situation and things that Tyler has said that have you raising an eyebrow like, should we be concerned about this person because they're exhibiting some questionable mentalities? I'm making this video to call on larger influencers to maybe take a step back and think and put themselves in the shoes of the people who may be sending them GoFundMe links asking for help, right? I know a lot of people think it's easy to just go out and get another job. It's not. The economy is really bad right now. There isn't a single day that has gone by that I haven't seen a large, previously successful company filing some form of bankruptcy. And if you are not getting those notifications and are not aware that this is a very real situation, especially going on in the States, you should be paying attention. Large restaurant chains, large corporations. Why? Because people can't afford to go out and eat. They can't afford to shop at their companies anymore. The economy is really bad. Inflation is horrendous. The gas, don't even get me started on the gas prices. It appears that the person in charge is running the country very similarly to how they ran and have run their own businesses that they have bankrupted several times. It seems like this similar situation is at least happening in the American economy, and I know that American economy affects economies on a global scale. Every business that files bankruptcy, that's hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs that are being lost. A lot of companies are incorporating AI screening into job applications, and that AI screening is kicking out and rejecting billions, not millions, billions of applications just on, I think it was workday.com. It's been exposed that AI has rejected 1.1 billion job applications. People are getting rejected for jobs that are minimum wage. Employers are starting to take advantage of the fact that there is a surplus of people looking for work, and they are lowering the salaries and lowering the hourly rates if they can. And making it that much harder for people to live, thrive, and succeed on those incomes. People are really struggling to get by. People are really struggling to find opportunities and fields that are not being taken away by AI or are available despite AI that aren't automatically rejecting applications because either you're overqualified or some other thing in your application because a human isn't looking at it. People are not asking for money because they want to, and as someone who has had to generate a GoFundMe in the past, you have no idea how hard it can be to ask for help. How hard it is to feel like you have no other choice but to ask for help. When you've exhausted every other option, maybe these people have tried applying for loans or credit or any number of things just to try to survive. For a lot of people, GoFundMe is their last chance to ask for help and to try to make it through. It takes a lot to set aside your pride, especially when you are somebody who has worked your entire life, worked very hard for people who took advantage of you, didn't pay you fairly, or offering you a job where you are having to accept a drastically lower income rate compared to what you were making, just so you have income. I knew things were getting really bad in December. You want to know how I know that? In December, I was notified that my job was going from 40 hours a week to 15 hours a week. That was a huge income loss, and also a loss of health insurance and other benefits that I was supposed to have. So now on 15 hours a week, I had to try to get by until I started receiving severance pay, which started in April, when I finally transitioned out of the work that I was doing. But during that time, I know personally I had signed up for food delivery apps, grocery delivery apps, Amazon Flex, Walmart Spark, you name it, I looked for it. I sought out any delivery opportunity I could possibly manage to do to try to earn income. I became a notary public. I did everything I could to try to make sure I would be able to supplement my income loss. And had my body cooperated, I would have been doing that. If this is your first video watching this, I had emergency discectomy last year. It was a potential that I was going to have a second surgery this year. Thankfully, physical therapy has helped me avoid that. But I was in a really bad condition from January through March. A lot of physical pain, a lot of weakness. I've been getting stronger each day. But when you do physical therapy, you can be extremely sore for a day or two afterwards. Carrying, lifting heavy things is very hard to do. I am only just starting to walk once a week without a cane. I try to run an errand at least once a week where I'm not using my cane to help me wean off that. And I know not everybody is in that same situation. But when I tell you in December, the only apps that accepted me were Uber Eats and DoorDash. Every other app waitlisted me. I was waitlisted on Instacart for about a month and a half. I finally closed out the Instacart delivery because I realized I am not physically fit enough to do grocery delivery. And I didn't want to keep holding a space for someone else who's waitlisted and trying their best to supplement their income. So I closed out my delivery there. It took 2 months for me to come off the Walmart Spark waitlist. I'm still waitlisted on Amazon Flex. I applied for Veho. I applied for Veyo, Veyo. I ended up letting Veyo go. Veyo is a medical delivery app where you transport people for their medical services. But when I tell you, I looked up and I applied and I sought out everything I could. And a lot of the things that I applied for were waitlisting me. I knew already things were bad. There are a lot of people right now trying to live and survive. There are a lot of people right now just trying to keep the roof over their head and food on their table and heat and air conditioning and electricity going. And one thing that Charlotte has repeatedly said on her channel is everybody wants to be part of a village, but there's not many people who want to be a villager. So when I've observed a couple instances where it seems like she is perturbed, potentially by people asking for help, for support, it just reminded me of that very thing that she has said repeatedly herself. And I know inflation is bad right now. I know. We all know. Today, $20 barely buys you one thing at the grocery store if you need it. Electric is going up. Everything is going up. I am well aware. Things are hard universally across the board. I am well aware content creation is a real job. I know a lot of people bash it and say it isn't, but it is. Most content creators don't just sit and record a video like I do. After they record, and I used to kind of do this, they then go in and they edit. And editing takes hours, and you're not getting paid for any of it. All to post it in the hopes that it will earn money back for you. A lot of businesses are not doing sponsorships anymore because their business is hurting. So a lot of influencers are seeing a reduction in income there because of that. And I get it. I do understand it. I do get it. And if you can't financially donate to GoFundMe's, that's fine. No one is saying you have to. But I ask you to remember that there are a lot of people in dire situations right now. Landlords are raising rents simply because of greed, not because they have to. Simply because of greed. Airbnbs are going through the roof. Hotels are going through the roof. Even in areas that you wouldn't normally think should be expensive per night are getting really freaking expensive. People are losing their jobs left and right. And people are doing everything that they can just to get through the next day. And I get the messages may be annoying. I get it. And no, you don't have to donate. But you know how you can help? Be a villager? Maybe share people's GoFundMe links in your comments or create a post or a thread of some kind where people can post their own links so that those who are willing to and can help see the links and donate themselves. You can still be a villager even if you can't donate yourself. But you can't claim to be a villager and get mad when the village needs help. Every day, people make choices and people do what they need to do to survive. People resort to whatever they can to survive. And judging those who are begging and pleading for any kind of help it doesn't reflect well on you, especially when they are part of the village that has supported you in your efforts to become successful as you are. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, again, please don't send hate to anybody. This is just my interpretation of things that I have picked up on, things that I've noticed that have been said in content they themselves have released. But please, I call on every person who has a platform who is making a livable income, no matter what that job is. Be a villager. Find some way to give back. I saw a lot of community get built during the pandemic, and while hopefully that does not happen again, things are scary right now with certain things in the news. But the people who are earning an income and can give back in some way, please do. Because there's not a single person out there begging for help right now who isn't desperate in some way. Yeah, there may be a few bad apples amongst the group, people who don't need the help and are asking just to try to benefit themselves. There's always bad apples in every group, but the largest majority of people asking for help really need it. Me, I ended up canceling my GoFundMe and it ended up returning the money to anybody who had donated because I sucked it up and I just said, I just gotta get to April. I can't afford to pay my bills, and I had a critical situation going on at the time, and I was like, thankfully it got settled in another way. But I got lucky. Not everybody's going to be as lucky as I was. And everybody right now needs to pitch in and do their part if they can. Right? And Friday, I will be releasing a video going through my personal experience with job loss and things that I'm doing to build myself up. I will be mentioning resources. I will be mentioning fields that I know are in high demand to try to help the community in any way I can with guidance and information that I have. Okay? I will forewarn you, some of these opportunities will take you opening your wallet to start the work. But again, I will also be mentioning opportunities that won't. Alright? Sorry, I just noticed the end of that video cut out. I noticed there was an issue with my mic. I guess the battery died at the end. So forgive me, I'm using just the phone. But I will be talking about opportunities that are out there that both do and do not take investment. Okay? So I hope it finds you well. I hope we all get through this together. And I hope we all remember that at the end of the day, everyone deserves to be supported. Everyone deserves help. And everyone deserves a chance to live and thrive and be part of a village and a community that supports them with that. All right? Bye for now.